What is up, everybody? It's me, Duke Farley, back at it again here on Lost at Sea. And tonight, myself and Drew are breaking down episode 14. We lost one of the final four, and we are one competition away from seeing who's going to be the final two. So, Drew, thank you so much for coming back on. How have you been since we last spoke?
Of course, I'm glad to be back. Always love being on the podcast with you, Lost at Sea. But I've been good, just busy hosting. So that's been occupying my time, trying to stay warm. It's been a little rainy here. But other than that, been pretty good. Pretty good. Been watching Ascendance, crazy season. I feel like it's getting better and better as the seasons go on. So it's awesome.
They're doing so many big things over there at the Ascendance Live Productions, and Nicole Papa and the group are just absolutely killing it. If you guys want to follow along and get some deeper dives into what's going on in that house, definitely consider becoming a Patreon. You can see that on their website. And I'll put a link in the description below so you can take a look at that. But Drew, let's talk about this episode. AJ comes out hot and wins I think a record-breaking 8th captain, or he's won 8 at
Crazy.
during the season. Is this guy just built different, Drew?
I just feel like he is now. I thought I was a well-rounded player, but AJ he is there. Like he's a comp beast. I don't when was the last time he was not safe? When he was eliminated? Is that the last time when he wasn't safe?
He was only vulnerable twice in this game. The first time, yes, he was eliminated, but one other time he was vulnerable. But besides that, this dude is immune.
Oh, he has a case for himself for sure. Now, obviously, I don't because I always know there is certain games he's been eliminated. So if he makes it to the end, are people gonna, even though he's done so well, are people gonna be like, but you actually were eliminated, so I don't even want to give you my vote, kind of thing? Who knows? But I feel like he has a very good case if he could get to that final spot.
Yes, and it seems like the past couple of weeks it's been win or go home for AJ. Especially this one here. It seems like the final three, the three others would have probably eliminated him unanimously.
I know that feeling all too well. So I was
Yeah.
in AJ's shoes last season. I had to win the final four in order to stay. I had to win the final three in order to make it to the final two. So I think he can do it.
Yes, I mean, he's one away at this point, but let's talk about AJ becomes safe, and now we're at a final four vote where we get a face off. Were you surprised in how things broke down with, the Taylor versus Rocky? Who was going, AJ pulls Taylor aside and is really gung ho on sticking to her side versus, Rocky and Marcelo sticking together. Were you surprised at that breakdown there?
A little bit because I know how close Rocky and Taylor were from the start. Because I know
Right.
Rocky and Marcelo got a little closer, like a little later on, and then Rocky and AJ got a little closer a little later on. So I thought Rocky and Taylor were going to be solid. Which, if I get why Rocky wanted to go for Taylor, because perception in games is everything. So if he's perceiving her to be the biggest threat to him, he wanted to take a shot. However, I think what would have been a smart move for him is AJ's telling Taylor he's voting for Rocky. Marcelo's telling Rocky he's voting for Taylor. Why didn't Taylor and Rocky just team up and vote Marcelo and make it a 2-1-1? I think that would have been smarter for Rocky because then he would have been in the final three. And if he still truly wanted to take out Taylor, he could have taken her out at final three. So
Drew, you mentioned that, and I thought that that was going to happen at the point where Rocky and Taylor are kind of sitting by the fireplace area, and Rocky kind of looks defeated. He has his hands on his head, and I thought they would have mulled that idea over and said, "Why? Both of our names are out there. We're getting forced into a face-off. Why don't we just vote Marcelo?" I
yeah,
did see Marcelo like lurking in the background a little bit. I thought I saw his shorts, and I was like,
I think I
maybe
saw his
that's.
shorts too.
I was like, is is he listening in right now?
Right.
So I did think that that was going to be something that might have happened, but we did not see that. We see the face off,
Whew, I can't
and
believe all 3 seasons it's been face-offs. That's wild to me. But first off, I know he didn't want to show his feet, but he finally did to America. But why did you start with your shoes on, Rocky? Like, I think had he started with his feet sooner, I think he could have pulled it out there.
hell,
But
Drew, I think if he started with his socks, he might have won.
that too, yeah, he didn't even have to start with. You didn't even have to show your feet. Just keep those socks on. You could have got more grip. I feel like it's hard to grip with the shoes, so I'll just be thankful I never had to do that one. I was having feet issues last season, so I would have probably lost. So all the power to them.
Well, you know who else was having feet issues, specifically toe issues this episode?
Oh, did she
Taylor was playing on a broken toe.
nuts? And look, she pulled it out. That shows the dedication she had. It's wild.
It's wild what people will do for, the title of Ascendance Live, and but once you're in that atmosphere, I feel like no matter how broken your toe is, you're gonna give it your all no matter what.
100%. I would have they would have taken me out on a stretcher if I was in her spot too. So 100% agree. All the power to her. I would have pushed through that toe thing too. So
Right. And so another thing I noticed throughout this competition, I've never seen, the people getting up off the stool. I always thought the stool
yeah,
was there because they had to sit on it the entire time,
same.
but that's not the case. We got clarification that you can, as long as you're just using your feet, you can kind of just throw the stool aside and
Yeah.
just use your feet.
I feel like a good strategy for that is I don't know why you were sitting the whole time. I would have just like used the stool for balance and then stood up and tried to do it, which I guess if you're standing, you don't have 2 feet. So I guess that's why they were sitting. But I don't know. I think standing up for the flag portion of it was super smart.
Yeah. And ultimately, Taylor is able to clutch it, and we see Rocky leave here. I'm glad it was kind of the end of the strategy portion into the face-off. I was kind of thinking, is he just gonna, give in here? And I'm glad that he fought to the end because, that competition was swaying back and forth, just like in your season. It was
Yeah,
very
it
close
was.
back and forth as well.
I felt it. I felt it again like last season. Like the tension between this one. I was like, oh, she dropped, he dropped, she dropped, he dropped. It was crazy. And I just was watching Marcelo and AJ in the background because that was Joe. Like if we were in those shoes, that was Jodely and I. Like Jodely over here rooting for Hot Girl Chris, and I was over here rooting for Erica. And in this situation, AJ side pulled through. So I felt it. I felt it all over again, and I'm heartbroken because Rocky is one of my BFFs. So I was really rooting for him, and I thought he was playing a stellar game. I do think if he got to the end, he really could have convinced them on why he could have won because he went through. Sure, he may have never won when he needed to. He's always the bridesmaid, but I think that's a good story too. Like your social game kept you here, but unfortunately, it wasn't in the cards, and I do feel bad, but I think he did a great job.
Rocky definitely, he's mentions it in his exit there that he was the one that was voted most likely to return for All Stars. So probably we will see Rocky again at some point.
100%.
And I can't wait to get to talk to Rocky at some point next week during an exit interview, kind of break down everything that happened in his game because he was a huge part of the season for sure.
100%. 100%. I agree. And it was uncanny. I was watching him play, and yes, there was powers and things, but his game was eerily similar to mine. So I was like, oh, he's on the trajectory to be the next winner. He finds the winner power. Well, it's not anymore, but he found the winner power. He wasn't afraid to make moves. He found a pendant. He did all of this, and like he had the win. Like yeah, I'll just leave it at that because he knows how much I love him and how much amazing he did. So
And so we say goodbye to Rocky here at the Final Four, and we go straight into the memory competition. And AJ comes through again, advancing himself to the final competition. Looked like there were some people having trouble with this one. It seems like it happens almost every season where you got to go all the way back into the memory bank to figure out some of these things. But AJ was ultimately able to check multiple times and get the dub.
Yeah, that comp ain't easy. I'll tell you that. I don't know how long ours took. But I was in his same shoes too. Anyone, anyone who's watching this playing season 4 or the future, come on, yeah, memorize winning. The colors is the biggest thing. Like I think it's easy to remember like the challenge names and who goes. If you're gonna memorize anything, memorize the team colors who won. If you can do that, I think you can easily win this portion of it because that comp's not easy at all. So AJ, again, AJ's now on the same path as me. How to win the last one? He won part 1. Who knows what will happen in part 3?
Now for the like in between competitions throughout the season, did you notice people taking notes of stuff like this, or was that something that it's so fast paced that you really don't have time to like sit down and be like, okay, who's on whose squad and who's on the winning squad and write that down?
It's I would say more so in the beginning people did it because there was more downtime in the beginning. But as the game goes on, you're just mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted. You're like, I don't give a at this point, I need to keep myself here. So I'm not even gonna worry about that. I'll try to pull it back later. But I think it's a risky strategy if you really are dire and need it. But yeah, no, a lot of people towards the end did not. I think maybe Jodely did, but clearly that still didn't work because he didn't win part 1. So yeah, I don't know. It's a tough comp.
Tough comp. But next we see, the face off between Taylor and Marcelo with the hold the pole challenge. We saw it earlier in the season. I think Marcelo won this challenge. Yeah, I think Marcelo did win this challenge where you hold the pole. Um, and yeah, and he was not able to clutch this one versus Taylor. Taylor was able to edge him out. Um, well, Drew, does that spell the end for Marcelo, do you think?
I'm gonna be honest. No, I think both AJ and Taylor will take Marcelo to the final 2. I think Taylor realizes it. I know she's a smart cookie. I think she realizes how big of a threat that AJ is. He's won so many cops. He fought himself back in. He has, I think, out of the 3, the best storyline. If I was in their shoes, I would take out AJ now. So that's why I think if she wins, I think she'll take out AJ. I think if AJ wins, I think he's leaning more so to get rid of Taylor because he's talking about, yes, he's made a final 2 with both, but part of me feels like his with AJ is stronger than with Taylor.
It's interesting you say that. I think I agree with half of it. I think that Taylor will eliminate AJ if she wins. I think AJ will eliminate Marcelo if he wins because I feel like in this last episode he is so gung ho on saving Taylor and so like he mentioned it earlier where he had to lie to someone and he felt really bad about it. So I don't think he'll lie as badly to Taylor and cut her after like kind of promising her the world here um towards the end. So I feel like if AJ wins, he will take Taylor to the end. That's just my guess.
I think if AJ sits in the end, yes, there's the whole, well, he's been voted out, but I think it's really hard not to award him the win. So I really do think this is do or die for AJ specifically. If he doesn't win this last part, I do think he's getting third.
I would agree with that. Yes, I think Marcelo and Taylor will definitely cut AJ.
Yeah.
Um, but geez, what was the final competition? Oh, it's
Gonna be
the
the
jury
jury,
questions. Yeah.
which
So
I feel like Taylor knows the jury a lot. So I don't know. I think she might pull it off. Like we've seen Taylor and AJ be neck and neck in a couple competitions. The last one with the final 4, the memory one. So I think it's going to be a very, very close neck and neck between them. My gut, my gut is telling me that AJ is going to win part 1. I don't know. I feel like AJ has had a winner's edit from very early on. So my gut is leaning towards AJ winning this final part. And I think he's going to cut Taylor. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
these jury questions are always so fun
I love
because
them.
I know specifically in season 1 they had in season 2, did they have the jurors come out and reveal their answer to you guys?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did that.
I love that shit because
It's so
you get
good.
a little tension, a little bit of, I should be there with them.
Yep.
And I remember in season 1 it was so fun, and season 2 obviously so much fun to see you guys kind of sweat it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But I will say that sometimes the answers are kind of a crapshoot,
Oh,
right?
100%. Especially like I feel like if, for the most part, if you get a question about like an ally and you paid attention to their game, you can kind of get it. But some of the questions like, what is my favorite moment? You're never going to ask your ally, what was your favorite moment in this game? Like, you're not going to know that. So I think but if you really truly get to know them, you might be able to. But yes, a lot of them are crapshoots.
So it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see. Let's spell out some situations. Let's say AJ wins the final one, and like you said, he cuts Taylor. Who's winning? AJ versus Marcella, do you think?
I think that'll be a close one, if I'm being honest. Marcelo has an amazing social game.
Yes.
He's got 0 votes to his name.
Yes.
That's not easy to do. I've done it and it's not easy. Um, but I think between the two, I think AJ will pull out maybe like 5-4 against Marcelo.
I also agree with you. I think it would be very close. I It's going to be interesting to see specifically if Marcella gets to the end how the jury like is receptive to him, because did a little bit of lying. Let's say that.
It's a
So
little.
some people might be mad at that. Um, and that's one of my favorite parts of finale speeches is when people are mad at the finalists, honestly, just to
Same.
see them kind of sweat it. So
Yep.
do you think that if Marcelo gets to the end, he'll get a little bit more of a tougher time than AJ maybe?
Yeah, I think they'll give Marcelo a tougher time because he did have to lie. He I don't know. He was very under the radar for the beginning of the game, I feel like. And then he came out of the woodwork come merge, which is a valid strategy because it's kind of what I did too. But I don't know. I feel like Marcelo pissed off more people than AJ. And if someone is going to respect an all around player, I think AJ will get the votes to win.
Do you think that AJ's um having won so much, it kind of, I mean, the two times he was vulnerable to be voted out, he got voted out one of them. Do you think that that is not great?
I
That
do. I
because
do. That
he doesn't really show much of saving himself outside of winning comps, right?
yeah, I feel like that's I think that's gonna I think that's gonna be his one of his biggest hindrances if he gets to the end. Like if I was on a jury, I always would say I'm never not gonna give a chance to someone who is out, but the other person has been in the entire time. They had a fight tooth and nail. They didn't have to rely on comp wins. So it's like, which one is the jury going to respect more? AJ, who was out but fought his way so hard and won all those comps, or Marcelo, who was under the radar. He won a comp here, but he's never got a vote. He's been very social. I feel like if you put those things together, that Marcelo's outweighs AJ's just slightly. Like I would probably lean towards Marcelo over AJ in that situation.
And you could argue for AJ, the way he went out, right? He goes out on a one vote pendant play where it was kind of fucked a little bit, to be
Oh,
honest.
it was.
But then again, looking back at Marcelo's track record, he was in the know of every single vote. And then he voted correctly, except for the one time where he votes incorrectly to kind of gain favor with Sarah as she's being eliminated. Whether that will be the case if he gains that favor, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see that. But so we've talked kind of about, those two. Let's talk about Taylor. If she finds a way to win this competition, um, how do you think she stacks up against if she takes Marcella?
That one's another close one too. I don't. This final three is just. It is
It's
a
a good one.
It's a very solid final three. Now, I think my gut is saying between Taylor and Marcelo that people I don't know. I honestly can't call between those two. I would give it to Marcelo, I think, over Taylor. So I think Marcelo edges her out because I feel like he stretched himself out more to people because Taylor did lie as well, but Marcelo stretched himself more where he got to know people more than Taylor. So, but I do think that would be a close one too. I think maybe 5-4 as well. I think it's going to be a 5-4, 5-4 vote, but
Yeah.
people may vote for Taylor because everyone kept on saying, if you bring Taylor to the end, she's going to win. She's going to win. She's going to win. She's going to win. Like she's had that like narrative painted around her. So people are going to be like, you didn't take her out and see, you should have taken her out sooner. I'm going to give her the win. So that's why I think she could get some, but my gut says Marcella would beat Taylor.
And I'm going to disagree with you again here, Drew. I think Taylor has a Taylor and Marcelo have played pretty similar. I think
Yeah.
that one of the big moves that Taylor has is in conjunction with Marcelo, where they blindside Kira. Um, but Taylor kind of, I like the ending here of this episode where Taylor kind of wins a face off. I think that gains favor with the jury. I don't think people will give Taylor as hard of a time as they will Marcelo because I feel like Marcelo did more of making deals that he didn't cash in the end.
Yeah.
So I think Marcelo may lose a couple people there, and then if Taylor is able to win this final competition and take Marcelo to the end and eliminate AJ, I think that's another notch on her resume where
Taking
it's
out the
like
big threat.
taking out the big dog. So it's like I can see a Taylor, I can see less of a close of a vote than what you're thinking in 5-4. I think maybe like 6-3, maybe 7-2 here for Taylor over Marcelo. But versus AJ, I think it's going to be close between her and AJ if that's the route she goes.
Yeah, it's gonna. I in that situation, I think Taylor wins. I think Taylor beats AJ. So I think AJ, if AJ wins, I think he needs to bring Marcelo. If Taylor wins, I think she needs to bring AJ. So in order to win.
It's going to be fun to watch, a fun
Excited.
episode next Thursday. Really excited. Hopefully we get a jury roundtable because I always love those jury
Oh, I love
roundtables as
those.
well.
They're so good. They're so good. It's always good.
It's always fun seeing the jurors kind of, yelling at each other sometimes and
Yep,
discussing sometimes the finalists. But
for sure.
um, Drew, anything else that we didn't cover up to this point?
Not that I'm aware of. It's just been a very solid season, a lot of drama, a lot of heart. Everyone was in it to win it. It's been major props to Nicole, Papa, and Maddie. They're killing it. They're killing it. I'm excited to see what they have up their sleeves for season 4, whenever that is, because I'm sure it's going to be even better than this season. And it's sad that I'm going to have to finally pass off my torch or my crown, I should say, come next Thursday. But whoever wins totally deserves it. They've been a killer final 3.
Now, are you rooting for the final vote to be close so that you could say that you had the best the most votes in the end?
Well, yeah, obviously, yes, because obviously the first season I know was 5-4. I won 8-1. Again, I was 1 vote away from a perfect game. So yes, I do hope it's closer, so I can still say I have the best vote record.
Yes,
Selfishly. And it brings more I think if it's 5-4, it gives more tension for a finale too. So
absolutely. Yes. Well, Drew, I appreciate you coming back on. I think your draft team is done, right?
yeah,
Or do
thanks,
you?
Rocky. Yeah, they're done.
Yep, Rocky was the final one.
Rocket.
So I will update the draft at some point tonight. I think it's only 2 people left. I think Sam
I think
has
she has both. Doesn't she have both of them? Or doesn't she have AJ and Marcelo and then someone else has Taylor?
yes, yes, that's correct. So
Of course, Sam.
looks like Sam's gonna win this one.
I'm not surprised. She kills it all the time. So
Shout out Sam. But Drew, thank you so much for coming back on. We'll have to do it again for season 4.
All right.
It's always a pleasure, man.
You as well, dude. Thanks so much.